We are live. Another edition of ThursDIAZ. I'm your host, Beto Duran. Thank you for joining us as always. So every single Thursday we get together. If you're watching us for the first time, with Joel Diaz, a fantastic trainer at Indio, Roberto Diaz, Golden Boy matchmaker. Before I bring them in, thanks to everybody who's been downloading the podcast on iTunes and on Spotify. I see some of the numbers and they keep on spiking. For some reason on Tuesdays, people really love listening to the podcast. So if you're watching us on YouTube and you miss anything, it's always available for audio version if you're at work and you can't watch us, or if you're running around, whatever it is you guys want to do. That's what you can do. Listen on iTunes, Spotify, and as always, YouTube. It's always available for you afterwards. And you see the Maldita Pobreza shirt behind me. Bring in now Joel Diaz. Joel, saludos, ¿cómo está, gallo?
Muy buenas tardes, Beto. Muy buenas tardes, Roberto. ¿Cómo están ustedes?
Gusto saludarte.
Igualmente,
Roberto Diaz.
Estar con ustedes.
Yeah. And as always, we get going, before more people start coming in. Sulem's here, there's SoCal. But as always, we started, and I even posted it today. It's BYOB. Bring your own booze, bring your own Bobby, bring your own Beto, whatever it is you want to bring, just bring it. So, saludos. Roberto, what are you drinking? Oh, cerveza?
Modelito por el calorcito.
Modelo. Coach, ¿qué tiene?
I got a mixed drink today.
Okay.
I got some tequila today.
Uh-huh.
With some
Golden Boy coconut water. Woo! Perfect. Hey. I like it.
Golden Boy coconut water for real. And then I
tried tequila with coconut water. Man, this is good. I'm telling you, recommend it. Coconut water with tequila and yellow, great.
Razo's gonna get mad because Razo's all about his tequila and pineapple because that's what he created. And then I went and
that coconut water. I don't know if that's the one because there's the plain, the regular, and then there's coconut water with pineapple. So it's the combination. It's really good. And I
have both.
I'm not doing a commercial here. I don't like coconut water. It's actually very good for you. But that coconut water, hats off. It's very good.
I have the coconut water with the pineapple and this one, but right now it's just pineapple. So.
Well, we got a 2-hour show. So Neil Macasada from San Diego, ¿Cómo está? He's checking in. I actually have a cider. I'm going easy today. 101 cider. I had those last week, and I went and got more. Good friend Ricky Romero. If you guys want to buy 101 cider, go to their website. Use the code LANG, L-A-N-G. You get something off. This one today, 6.9%. I am going to be toasty afterwards, so I can already tell. This one is a commercial because I got it for free, but I'm going to drink that right now. Vegan friendly, non-GMO, all that other good stuff. The reason I'm drinking it is because on 4th of July, todos los cohetes, man, the tequila, coach, I'm not bringing it to India.
Hey, you're making a little dent there.
That's at least a gallon right there. You got 2 more gallons. You're good.
Saludos to everybody, and everybody who's drinking right now. All right, let's get going. Coach, I'm going to start with you. That shirt you are wearing, what is it? You're selling them? What's the deal?
A lot of people have been asking, what, and I'm very thankful and grateful with all the people that have been supporting. I've been sponsored by Nike for approximately probably 6-7 years. And, Nike always takes care of me in every way for fights. As you can see, I always just wear a Nike hat, Nike clothes. So what they did for me during this pandemic, they said, hey, coach, we want to do something to help out your program. We're going to make shirts that will say, we will box again. And they're going to have your logo on them. And we're going to put them on our website so people can order them and we're gonna help your program with the sales as well, So, they're really good helping us out. They've always been really good to me, and I've always wanted to have my logo on a Nike shirt, And this was great. This was like when they called me and they said, "Hey, coach, we're gonna have your logo on the Nike shirt, and we're gonna deal with the sales, and we're gonna give you a percentage of the sales."
Wow.
Throughout to help your program. I said, great. That was great. So to me, that was something that I was always looking forward to. They've always helped me. They've always sponsored me. for many years, and we're still going strong. And for them to do this for me, to me, that's great. Having my logo on a Nike shirt, I mean, that's just great.
And where can you buy them?
Online. I mean, on the Nike app.
Oh wow!
Yeah, on the Nike app, and I'll always put it on my social media. My kids put it on social media, and they have there's a link, and you can get your shirts through the Nike app.
Yeah, and I know Lahir bought his, but our good friend, the Green Eye Bandit, today posted it. Listo para ThursDIAZ, and he bought this shirt, and he's holding 2 Pacificos. Then there, Cesar Megoza, a good friend of the show, Green Eye Bandit, he has it. So if you guys want it, just go check out Coach Joel Diaz Instagram, and you can see where you can also get that shirt. It's pretty cool, and that's awesome that you have your Nike shirt. That's cool. And then the proceeds also benefit your program, which is great. That's huge.
Yeah, it's for the program. Actually, I talked to Antonio, and we have our it's basically it's going to benefit our amateur boxing program.
Oh,
just to make it clear, the professional program. I mean, it's not part of it itself. We want to help the amateurs, all the kids. The young kids are growing up in the sport and will be the future of the sport. In the near future. So we want to keep this program going with all these kids that Antonio has. Right now, we still can't train them at the Boys and Girls Club. So what we're doing is I'm helping Antonio. Antonio is the one that runs the boxing amateur program, and I go help him as well. Antonio's my right hand guy, and when it comes to training, so when he needs help, I always help him as well. We got our setup. We go to the ranch and we train the kids over there. We don't train everybody. We try to split the groups, like Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We split so that everybody gets an opportunity to train. So they get some activity as well, because they're just at home, and the parents are always, hey, when are they going to open? When are they gonna... And what we don't want is these kids to get bored and start getting out, getting another route, going somewhere else, or just getting in trouble. We just want to keep them busy, keep motivating them, keep them active, and that's what we do during the week. Antonio and I, after we finish training the pros, we come home, we get some lunch and rest for a little bit, and then later on, when it's not that hot, 6:30, 7 p.m., we'll train them at the ranch.
That is awesome. That is awesome. And Ernie, Golden Boy and Everlast, he's there. Ener0919, he's watching. So if you guys need anything, he has the link. He'll take care of you guys right now. And that's awesome. And by the way, it's also going to be 108,000 degrees this weekend. So how about we get some We Will Box tank tops?
Hey, we're gonna get. I'm gonna call them up tomorrow and say maybe we can get some tank tops as well. Because over here it's gonna get the weather's gonna get really nice. Right now it's still a little chilly, like 112 right now. But eventually it's gonna get warm. It's gonna get warm. When I mean warm, it's like 118, 120. But I mean, I've lived here all my life. It's just an adorable weather. If it was really bad, I wouldn't live here.
So when he comes down to LA for a fight and it's about 80 degrees, he comes with a jacket and a sweater because it's cold for him.
I'll be like an Eskimo over there. I'm telling you, I come to LA. Hey, I have a friend in Fresno, and the other day he calls me, and he has one of those above ground pools, and he's dying, and he's like, man, it's so hot here, and he's pouring water on his head, and he's really red because he's light skinned, right? And he's drinking a beer. He goes, man, this is one of the hottest days here. So I go, hey, how hot is it? He goes, it's 98 degrees. I go, dude, 98 degrees for me is cold. I wake up in the morning drinking coffee with a jacket, I mean, right here in Indio, this month, July and August, are the worst months. I mean, you're talking about 118, 100. I mean, the lowest one's 115, 118, and it goes up to like 120, 21. This Sunday, it's on the weather forecast, it should be hitting 121.
Wow. As my good friend Carlos Del Torre, who's watching, he just texted me. He gave me the weather forecast for Mexicali. He said, let's go. He's always been trying to give me Mexicali in the summer. Carlos, that's local, right? 120, 116, 116.
Yeah. Mexicali's worse.
Yeah, I think Mexicali has the record. I don't know if world, but I know it has one of the records, maybe U.S., Mexico or something, for the hottest city. And the temperature got the highest, and it was in Mexicali.
No. And then
Roberto, Mexicali. Every time I go to Mexicali around this time of year, in the past, it gets really hot. In Mexicali, it's all pavement, asphalt everywhere, and when you're crossing the border, you got 3 lanes of engines running. I mean, the weather is already 115 degrees, and all the cars are bumper to bumper. Every engine is on. It goes up to like 130.
There's no need. And right now, before we move on, let's say happy birthday to Sulem Urbina.
Yeah, happy birthday,
Happy
Sulem.
birthday.
She's turning 21 again. So happy birthday
18.
to Sulem.
She told me 18.
18? Oh, even better.
She said, hey, I just turned 18. I said, wow, that's cool.
So Sulem, saludos. Cheers. Feliz cumpleaños.
Salud.
We'll see you in the ring soon. Sulem, of course, a big supporter of ThursDIAZ. Now, Roberto, let's get with you. Let's talk about the business of Golden Boy. And you guys know this. We take your questions. We're not taking any Ryan Garcia questions today. We're not taking any contract negotiation questions. If you guys have any questions, go read The Athletic, see what Mike Coppinger had to say. Just go with that. Like, that's what it is. This isn't for, like, negotiation or anything like that. If you have any real questions, ask them later, but we're not taking anything about what the contracts are with the business. Porque eso es para el negocio and then para las chismosas, not me. Today, Roberto, what is going on with Golden Boy? I know it's the end of the month. We'll see Virgil Ortiz in the ring. What's the latest you have to promote?
2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, we're back. We will box again. We're excited. We're excited to, it's that first step forward once again into hopefully back to normal, and hopefully, I mean, we're not there yet. Obviously, there's still precautions and everything we have to take, but it's a step in the right direction to get us back to where we were before. And we're excited. It's been a little bit, it's been challenging, to get opponents. A lot of gyms across the country are still not open. So a lot of the fighters are not sparring. So although they have been training and watching their weight, they're still not in fighting shape. So that's been a little bit of struggle. But we've encountered also the ones that have taken the call and said, oh, yes, absolutely. So basically this card in a couple weeks it's like 99% done. And we're already working on the August 28th card and getting some of those fights ready to go.
So the fight on the 24th, the fantasy, obviously Virgil's the main event against Varg, a tough one. Who else is on that card?
Well, the co-main event should excite a lot of the fans that really love boxing and love different styles and see what style is going to impose over. You have youth against experience. You have speed. You have a boxer. You have a counter puncher. I mean, you have it all in these two guys, and that's Hector Tanajara Jr. from San Antonio, who's really, really motivated right now because obviously Joshua Franco, somebody he's grown up with, a stablemate, Jim, they're in the same gym, they're in the same promotional company, is facing none other than Mercito Gesta. And I'm excited about that fight as well because, you have two Golden Boy fighters. Mercito has all the experience. He's fought for the world title twice. He's very dedicated, always training, working hard through this whole pandemic, doing outside boxing stuff with the community, but never stopped training. That's a true professional. And Tanajara, the same thing. So you have a fight where Mercito is the toughest test that Hector's had to this point of his career or has had by the time they step in. And it's a fight that will show us if Hector's ready for that next level. He wants to go on to the bigger fights, to world titles. But Mercito's saying, wait a minute, I'm not done yet. I want to fight for the world title and not only fight for it, which he has, but I want to win the world title. So I'm excited about that fight. And Cenice Estrada, she's back. She'll be fighting. She has her opponents all said and done, contract signed. Shane Mosley Jr. will be making his pro debut with Golden Boy. And Evan Sanchez. I mean, it's a stacked card. It's a stacked card. Hector Valdez, a stablemate also of Virgil Ortiz, and from Texas as well. Very exciting super bantamweight young man. And it's going to, like I said, more than anything, the wheels are in motion.
Yeah, that's a good matchup. Mercito against Tanajara. two guys that, if you read The Athletic, Ryan Garcia turned them down. So it's like, okay, according to him, he don't want to fight them. They're going to fight each other. That's a good scrap right there. Let me ask you this from the matchmaker standpoint. What do you do if a fighter is testing positive? Like, how many guys do you have backup, or how does that work?
It's hard to right now think of the backup. You're just hoping for the best. We've had everybody on the card tested already. Okay. And, knock on wood, everything's been fine. Everybody's passed. But there's still 2 weeks to go. And you just hope for the best. I know every fighter out there, because of what they've seen, fights falling out last minute because of positive tests. Everybody right now on the card is taking all precautions, staying distant, not being in large groups, so they want to fight. Imagine Virgil, who had a camp prior to this pandemic, was a week away from fighting, and now 2 weeks away from fighting. It's like, wow, I thought this wasn't going to come. This was never going to, it's been such a long wait. Salud.
Thank you.
He's going to take all precautions. And Vargas, his opponent, same thing. They don't want to mess it up like with 2 weeks to go. And, I don't think anybody just wants to go in there, I got sick. I'm positive.
So this is also a message right now to, if you're a young fighter and you're in Southern California, stay on weight right now, because you might get a call out of nowhere because
all over the country. You're right. These guys need to look. It's those, and we said it towards, the beginning when we started. The calls are going to be, hey, are you ready? Can you be ready in a couple weeks? Can you be ready? Because there's fights falling out all the time. Top Ranks called us a couple times already. Hey, we lost this guy. We lost that guy. Do you have somebody to fill in? And there's been upsets on those fill-ins. I mean, so it's like, be ready as much as you can. Because, yes, you're going to get that call. And those that are ready are going to be in that ring. Those that are not, and I need more time, okay, it's I'm not saying it's the back of the line, but, I'll talk to you later because I got to get this fight replaced or done.
And, Coach, do you have anybody July 24th?
No, I don't have anybody. As a matter of fact, I had Tomás Delorme July 25th, but now they moved it to August 8th.
Oh.
So, and, you just touched a good subject by the backups, and everybody's doing it their way to secure the fights and make sure that if there's any fallouts, they got backups. Recently, Alex Camponovo called me and says, hey, you have anybody ready? I guess he has an event.
Yeah, July 26th, we're doing Thompson Boxing is doing 3 fights, $6 pay-per-view. It's a Sunday afternoon. We're doing it 3 fights only: Dutch Over, Ruben Torres, and Arnold Dinong.
Yeah, so he called me and says, hey, you have anybody ready? I said, look, I have a few guys here that are ready, but let me talk to the managers. What do you need? He says, I just need some fights. So I gave him a couple names, and he goes, you know what? Let's work with this guy. What do you think? Well, I mean, if you want to make it happen, make it happen. So we sort of like secured one fight. He goes, you have anybody else? I said, well, wait. He goes, what ways do you have? I said, I have a kid, a 118-pounder. He goes, can we get him as a backup? He tells me, can we get him as a backup? And we'll match him up with this kid. And in case there's a problem with the other fights, we use them as a backup fight. But if there's no issues, the fights go, we'll give them a little money just to be on standby. I said, well, that'll work. So, they're doing they're improvising to make their events, So we got one fight secured. Hopefully it goes. But if it's not, we have a backup. And if this kid, for some reason, everything goes well in the fight show, he gets a little money just for being on standby,
And that's the same thing with me. So the Golden Boy show that's on the 24th is on DAZN. I got called yesterday by my bosses at DAZN, said, hey, are you available that weekend? I'm like, hell yeah, I'm working. All right, cool. And they said, in case somebody gets positive. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I don't care. I just want to be involved. They're like, here's the deal. If you show up and we don't need you, we'll pay you a little bit. But if somebody tests positive, we got to have a backup ready to go. And I didn't even think about that as a broadcaster. It's like, yeah, you know what? Because as the broadcasters also, we have to have 2 negative tests before we can even go into the venue also. Not just the fighters, also the broadcast, which I'm learning.
Everybody involved. Everybody. Yeah. Production, officials, promotion, everybody.
Yeah, so they were telling me that if you show up, we'll use you as a backup. Just prepare like you would. We'll pay you a little bit. If we need you, then you're on the broadcast. And I'm like, that's just what you have to do. But there's also, they even have backup to the camera operator. So if one of the camera guys, so there's going to have it. I never thought about how you got to have backups for those guys. I was just thinking about the fighters. So it's interesting times right now. And I can only imagine, like, if you have a camera guy who's missing, okay, cool. But a fighter who can't get, it's like, it's interesting. That's why I asked you, Roberto, how you're handling that.
It reminds me, and obviously this was years ago, Jojo Diaz was going to fight at Fantasy Springs. And I had never done this, but I don't know why I had the feeling I might have had to do it. So in California, there's so many medical exams for a fighter to do in order to get licensed to fight. The opponent came from out of town, out of country, I think. And the one that takes the longest is the labs. The hepatitis, the HIV, those take a long time. Sometimes could take 24 hours. I mean, when I say a long time, normally you get them back in 24 hours. But sometimes get backed up, they got lost, they got this, that. So at the weigh-in, I had 2 opponents for Jojo. Just in case, on fight day, I didn't get the labs, I had this guy ready to go. And he was medicaled and prepared and everything. So Jojo, at the weigh-in, the commission even was like, what are you doing here? I said, I already spoke to the head. He understands. We're going to weigh them in, all 3. I'm going to pose Jojo with both. One at a, not together, obviously. Not together, obviously. One, and then, okay, now you. Yeah. And then pose him, because he's going to fight one of them. If the blood work gets back in time, he'll fight this guy. If the blood work doesn't come in, he can't fight, he'll fight this guy. So they registered all 3 weights. I had never done that, but that's how important it was to make sure that Jojo fought that night. You know, they put in all the sacrifice, cut weight, train, stay away from family, do so much sacrifice that I wanted to make sure that I did everything possible. And the second fighter, the backup, was Titi Maldonado from Mexicali. Didn't fight Jojo because the blood work did come in time. We paid him something, gave him some tickets, sit back and enjoy. And I think he later fought Jojo.
He did.
Yeah, he did, right?
Yeah, he ended up fighting Jojo later on.
This time you are fighting him, so come on. So the second time around he did fight him.
It's the stuff that we're going through. It's a different time, different era, everything else. All right, here we go. Let's get going with today's topic. We will get to the questions later on. We want the questions to be good as you've been drinking, so take your drink. Razzle's not here yet, so we're not taking any kind of questions. This one comes from our lawyer, Curtis Gold, our good amigo who lives in the Hollywood Hills, our rich lawyer, who asked this question for both of you guys, and it brought up today's topic. Of course, the lawyer is going to be worried about something dangerous that he can sue, so he brought this one up. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt the fighter was in danger? Let's start with you, Roberto.
Yes. I mean, I think it's several. I pinpoint one right now. The one I can think of would be one of the best fighters I've seen in the ring. Tremendous talent. Joan Guzman. We were in Canada. He was fighting Ali Funeka. Joan Guzman was undefeated. Again, one of the most talented fighters. And I didn't like what I was seeing. I don't know.
Were you his manager or matchmaker? I'm sorry? Manager or matchmaker for you?
I was matchmaker for Golden Boy. It was a Golden Boy fight in Canada against Gary Shaw. Okay. Ali Funeka was with Gary Shaw. And I think Linares and DeMarco had just fought like maybe weeks or a couple months before, because I'll get to what Gary said prior to the fight ending. which nobody would have figured, right? But going back to the question, I saw Guzman getting beat up like I'd never seen him before. Again, he was undefeated. I didn't like what I was seeing. I don't think he was in danger of getting seriously injured, but what I was seeing, I didn't like. And I didn't see like, okay, that was a bad round. The next round, he'd come back. It was like a couple rounds back to back. So I remember running to the corner at the end of the 9th or 10th round. And I called over his manager and I said, I'm stopping the fight. And in reality, I mean, it's not the matchmaker's job. It's the corner, the manager, the referee, the doctor. But I am one to say, hey, if the ref's not doing it and the corner's not doing it, come on, guys, somebody do something because I don't want to see a kid injured. And the manager was, hold on. I remember Guzman turning around from his stool and said, give me one more round. I mean, I respect that. I admire that because otro dice, hey, fuck you. Why are you going to stop the fight? But he turned around and said, give me one more round. And I said, okay, but show me something. Joanne, show me something. He went out and won the 11th and 12th. I go back to my seat, obviously, right after that. And Gary turns around. We were all sitting in the same area. He turns around and he tells the guy that was there from HBO, and he says, not bad, huh? 2 lightweight champions in like 1 month. And again, DeMarco had beaten Linares, and now, Funeca was on his way to beat Guzman. And I remember telling him, hey, Gary, it's not over yet. It's not over yet. But it was like the 10th or 11th. And he says, what, you think Guzman's going to win? I said, no, but maybe a draw. Maybe a draw. Okay, remember this. So the fight's over. I get in the ring. Guzman, like I said, he won the last 2 rounds. Or looked better in the last 2 rounds. So I remember going in there and telling the manager, hey, make sure Guzman doesn't dip his head and, keep his head up and stay positive. But I'm thinking, yeah, we lost. We lost. They announced the decision, and it's a draw. Oh. It's a draw. And Gary, you know how loud Gary is. You worked with him several years with Tim, and everything. Starts yelling, it's a fix. It's a fix. How did you know it was going to be a draw? I didn't know it was going to be a draw. But I wanted him to stop celebrating. Yeah. Shut up for at least 2 more rounds. I don't want to hear it yet. It was inevitable that he was going to win. But when they gave it a draw, I was like, let's get out of here. But yeah, that was one of the times that I thought. And then a case real close to Fantasy Springs was Angel Osuna. Angel Osuna fought at Fantasy Springs, Hugo Centeno. Yeah. He was injured in the last round of the fight, I believe. Yeah. However, he was winning the fight. Mm-hmm. So I didn't see him at a point where, okay, you know what, he's going to get injured. Raul Caiz Jr. was the ref, did a great job stopping the fight when he got hit and dropped. But it was really after the fight's over that he sat on the stool and he collapses. And I thought, you know what? He's probably very dehydrated. Let's rush him over to the hospital. They took him to the hospital. The show goes on. The doctor from the commission comes over to me and says, hey, I just want to let you know he's going into surgery. So I leave the venue and I rush over to the hospital. And yeah, he went into surgery.
Didn't he hit his head?
That was what a lot of, they were saying, but later it was said he didn't. Okay. Because they said that when he went down, he hit the bell. Yeah, but then later there was another version that they caught him and stuff like that. You know what? It was a tough fight and he got hit. I was just very happy to see him almost, I think it was a month to the day. Mm-hmm. I went to the hospital to visit him and took him a carne asada burrito, and he chugged it down and got up and walked. And I was really afraid. I was considering giving up boxing and retiring because I felt really bad. And then we were at I think a celebration dinner at Randy Caballero's house when he knew I was there, so he came over to visit and to see him again. It was really good.
Wow. And Coach, for you?
Well, I had a couple, man, and but one of the worst to me, honestly, where I was very, very scared for my fighter was when Bradley fought Ruslan Provodnikov.
Oof.
That right there. I mean, up to this day, I'm not gonna lie to you. Sometimes in the middle of the night, I dream of that moment, and in my dreams, it still feels like I'm there because I remember the pressure I had, and it's to me, I think it's gonna be one of those feelings that is gonna be for me forever until I die because the pressure, the adrenaline of that night is like walking into the ring, and I'm telling him as we're walking in the hall, hey, Bradley, please listen to me. And just by the look in his face, he's like, yeah, it wasn't like before, like, okay, coach. Bradley was always very respectful. Yes, sir. Like, Tim, I want you to do this. Oh, yes, sir. I pump him up and he'll be like right here in my face. Yeah. And that day, walking into the fight, I knew something else was in his mind because after those threats from the Pacquiao fight and whatnot, all that bullshit we went through for months after the Pacquiao fight, he had another mentality. He wasn't going to listen to me. He was going to go in there and do whatever he wanted to do to prove the people otherwise. So going into the fight, he gets dropped. Boom. He gets hurt. He never recovered from that. He was hurt every single round. There was a point in the fight where he comes to the corner and his eyes are rolling back. And I'm trying to wake him up. I'm telling you. I still remember. He's like this. And he's like, and I hold his face and I'm, Tim, come on, listen to me. And he's like, and it goes to my mind. Should I stop the fight? I'm going to stop it. And then I'm like, I'm giving myself time. And at the moment, his dad is screaming, like panicking, and his uncle. And I'm trying to, hey, please, guys, relax. Let me handle this. So I'm trying to control the corner, the dad and Jackson, but the dad was freaking out. And I, please, coach, let me handle this. Hold on. And then Tim, talk to me. And he's like, so then, as the seconds are going by, I mean, we only got like 45 seconds in that corner, in between rounds. So I see him like, slowly coming back. And there was a point in certain rounds where I would say, if he doesn't react, I'm not letting him in anymore. I knew that Tim was always in top shape. I knew that he was always in great conditioning. So his conditioning made up for all that beating he took. And but there was one time in the 6th round when I said, Tim, come on, man, I'm going to stop this fight. You're taking too much beating. Listen to me. And he's like, no, coach, no, I'm okay. And then as it was getting close to the bell, I poured water on his head and I shook him a little bit. And he's like, and he sort of like reacted. He goes, I'm good. Okay, listen to me, box him. And I let him go. But I think if it was 2 more seconds that he would have just like not responded, I would stop the fight right there. Wow. And a lot of things would have changed to this day in my career and his career from that night. That's why I've always said it. When Tim Bradley was going to fight Juan Manuel Marquez, after Pacquiao was knocked out by Marquez, Tim wasn't okay. I was still worried because of that fight, all the damage he did, the concussions, and it was, to me, it was a concern watching him train, getting dropped by Vicente Escobedo. I brought El Pez Martinez to spar him. El Pez Martinez fought Abraham Lopez at 126, 130. He was a small guy, and he was putting it on Bradley like, man, it's not going to happen. Bradley's not okay. Running one night and telling him, Tim, I don't want you to fight. I'm going to pull the plug on this fight. I don't want to see you in a hospital. If I take you to a fight, I want to bring you to a family. So it's, to me, that's why I always said it. It is a tough position for a trainer when fights like that happen. It's a split-second decision between making the right and the wrong decision at the right time. Because sometimes you can stop the fight at the wrong time, and sometimes you let it go at the wrong time and your fighter gets hurt. It's a big responsibility, and a lot of people don't see it that way. But to me, I saw the referee later after the Bradley fight, and I still remember I pulled every trick. I pulled tricks out of my sleeve for that fight. There was times in which seconds out, and I ignored it. There was times in which the bell would ring, and I was still in the ring with Bradley. I was giving them the seconds to recover. I was like, I didn't care. I mean, I sort of ignored. I was talking to Tim, trying to wake him up, pouring water in his head, and I wanted to see his reaction. Talk to me, Bradley. Talk to me. Okay. And then the ref is seconds out. Diaz, seconds out. And I'm ignoring him. You know, all of a sudden the bell rings, boom, and I walk out. That's giving us extra seconds for him to recover. It was to me, it was an unforgettable night. I think one of the nights that just took a lot out of my life, because it's a big responsibility. If something would happen to Bradley that night, let's say worst case scenario, Bradley ends up in the hospital that night due to a concussion or something like that, like Bernard, like Osuna. A lot of fingers were going to be pointed at me for letting me allow the fight.
Absolutely, yeah. Because you should have stopped. See, that's the tough part, because Bradley wins the fight, or fighter. I'm not just going to say Bradley. You know, fighter wins the fight. Oh, fighter chingon. You know, this and that. Fighter loses the fight. Oh, trainer, matchmaker shouldn't have made that fight. Trainer didn't train him right. Trainer should have. Look, you win as a team, you lose as a team. But to be pointing fingers, or it's his fault or that fault, it's like, you know, when the fighter wins, it's not the matchmakers. You know, it's the fighter, and it should be. But when he loses, the matchmaker, you know, that was the wrong style.
You know, another fight that I'll never forget, and even up to this day, you know, sometimes they bring it up, and I don't feel bad about it, you know, because I know that I did what I had to do that night when my brother Antonio fought Antonio Margarito. It was a very intense fight. I think Antonio was winning the first 5 rounds, if I'm not mistaken. Antonio was dominating Margarito in the early rounds. But then I remember Antonio coming to the corner and he's telling me, "Hey, take the Vaseline from my eyes." And I look at his eyes and there's no Vaseline, but he's bruising. He's bruising really bad. And I'm like, okay, you know, and now that I remember, I'm thinking right now, and I tell him, because as the round started going, Antonio was like, he was coming and his face was more beat up. I could see Antonio was still young at the time. He wasn't like towards the end of his career where you could see he was swelling and bruising. I mean, when you're older, you bruise. You bruise, you swell. But when you're young, I mean, Antonio was always really good. He would take beatings and he would never swell as bad. And that night, I remember Antonio was dominating first round, second round, third round. I think it was up to the 5th or 6th round when Antonio was in control of the fight. And then at one point in that corner, I'll never forget when he tells me, "Hey, take off the Vaseline from my eye." And there's no Vaseline in his eye. I mean, we're not even putting Vaseline in his eye. And I see that right under his eyebrows, he's getting bruises, like bad bruises. And I'm like, okay, you know, he kept going. But then I see Margarito getting stronger and stronger, and Antonio's getting worse and worse. So at one point, Antonio gets caught with a punch and takes a knee. And every time, you know, one of my fighters take a knee, I always tell them, make eye contact with me. I'll tell you what to do. Stay down. You're already down. When you're down, don't try to get up. Stay down, recover. You got 7, 8 seconds and get up. So Antonio, I remember when Antonio got dropped, I remember he looked at me and he goes like this. Like, I know my brother. He just went like this, like, okay. So he got up. When he got up from one side of the ring, Margarito just took him. Boom, boom. He was punching at him. Okay, maybe Antonio wasn't getting hit much, but he wasn't reacting either. Put him against the ropes, and he was like, you know, but Antonio wasn't okay at that time. And we still had like 4 rounds or 3 more rounds after that. So I jump in I'm telling the commission, I said, "Hey, it's over. It's over." What? It's over. Stop the fight. So I get up there and I stop the fight. Why? I had to protect my brother. I saw that he wasn't getting any better. He did good in the early rounds. He fought. He did what he could.
And the other guy was getting stronger.
The other guy was getting stronger. And I could see Antonio's face getting worse and worse every round in the later rounds. That was the second fight that has concerned me the most and had me scared, you know.
Wow.
I wonder, and see, he always used to get stronger as the rounds went by. I wonder why.
Yeah.
Antonio and I talked about it. And honestly, Roberto, Antonio and I, we talk about it, and he always tells, nah, you guys scared. Why'd you stop the fight? I was taking care of you, first of all. Nah, but I wasn't getting hit. But I mean, you have the adrenaline at 100% in the fight. You as a warrior, as a fighter, you're always going to want to fight, and we're watching from another angle, and we see from over here was right and wrong. So we have to make the decision, Let's go back to Berchett Vargas. I watched Vargas. He tried, and I gave him an opportunity. Before the round I stopped him, I told him, hey, he comes to the corner and he's hurt. I tell him, hey, Francisco, I'm stopping this fight. You're not doing any better. And he goes, I'm okay. I go, you're not okay. I go, you're telling me you're okay, but you're not showing me you're okay. I said, look, take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. I'm gonna give you one more round. In this round, if you don't show me, it's over. He goes into the fight, and I see that he's not doing any better. He comes like, wait, that's it. Hey, fight's over. Boom. I give him a chance. To prove to me that he was okay. Let's go home. I'd rather stop him in the 5th, 6th round than letting him take unnecessary punishment for another 5, 6 rounds and just go home. At the end, you're not going to win. When that bell rings, you're not going to win. Why put a fighter to torture?
100%. I agree 100% because especially, let's say you have a fighter who is down 8 rounds. It's a 12-round or a 10-round fight, but he's not a puncher. He's a boxer, and he's down. And he's just getting hit and hit and hit more and more. He doesn't have the puncher's chance to turn it around and win. Save it for another day. Why take more rounds of punishment? Now, it's a competitive fight that he's still losing, but it's competitive. Okay, let him finish, on his feet. But it just depends. And who knows them better than the people that are with them day in and day out in the gym?
Yeah, exactly.
That's them.
Exactly. And for the record, Toño was 39-3 going into that fight. And he writes right now that Joel took away my WBO title. Ha 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 ha.
See, that's why I don't like Margarito, because Margarito gave my brother a double dose of plaster. That's why when he talks, he stutters and stuff like that. I like to tell him.
Hey, better believe it. Believe it.
Telling you, that's why I don't like Margarito. Since that Margarito fight, my brother's no longer been the same.
Oh, that was a good topic right there. All right, so if you guys want to take your shot, I'm going to take one right now. Ay, Dios mío. Leti. Ay. So I'm going to take one right now with a little hiatus.
You got 1 gallon down. You got 2 more to go.
Ay. Well, might as well. This is the shot for Salem Urbina. Happy birthday, Salem. Saludos.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And there you guys go, everybody else. Salud.
Happy 18th.
All right, now I can start doing the show. All right, now the second question comes from also our good friend Curtis Gold, nuestro amigo, who says, have you ever been in a situation where you felt like you were in danger? Not in the ring, just in danger at a fight. Roberto, I'll start with you.
Yes.
The way you said yes is going to be a good one.
Oh, this was very, very movie. It's straight out of a movie. I'd never been to this town, and no disrespect to the town. I don't think I'll go back anytime soon. It was Johan Perez against Paul Spadafora, and it was out there. It was in Pittsburgh. I think I flew to Pittsburgh, and from there we got on the road for a couple hours, and it was a little town outside of Pittsburgh in West Virginia area. And it was pretty tough. Now, I'm there with a Venezolano fighting the hero who was 49-0.
Uh-oh.
Former world champion. I believe Paul had done some time.
Mm-hmm.
And then he came out and he was fighting for the world title again against Johan Perez. Maybe about 3,000 to 5,000 people in attendance.
Roberto, let me get you here. You were at the Mountaineer Casino, Racetrack, and Resort in Chester, West Virginia.
Okay,
no.
So I'm not kidding. It was straight out of a movie. I'm sitting ringside. In fact, the local promoter, a great guy, had me sit next to him, and we're sitting at the table right up against the ring. And I can remember watching the fight and hearing the crowd so much in support of Paul Spadafora. At one point, I hear from the top of their lungs, "Kill the effing spick."
Oh!
And I turn around and I'm like, it was like a 12-year-old kid. I'm not joking. It was a little boy. "Kill the fucking spick." So I'm going, now I have a mean headache during this whole fight. I don't know why. I had already asked even the supervisor from the WBA, his wife gave me some Advil. I took it. I had a mean headache. I don't know what was going on. I had never had migraines in my life. All I'm thinking is, it's a close fight. If we win, we're not leaving this place.
Oh my God!
I represented Johan. Golden Boy represented Johan, so I was there for Johan.
Roberto, let me get you here to set up the scene. Chester, West Virginia. If you ever seen the state of West Virginia, has that little pico on top. That's where it's at. It's home of the Chester Teapot. They're known for a teapot, which is their big thing. 2,500 people. That was it in the town.
They were probably all there. Four of them, and then some.
There's a casino, and it's 1 square mile because the casino can be on there. So there's all kinds of shadiness going on. And that fight wasn't on TV. You had to watch it on GoFightLive.tv.
Yeah. So I'm thinking
it's
like the 8th or 9th round. The fight's good. I mean, Paul Spadafora was tremendous talent. Johan was undefeated, I think, at the time. He was, really doing good. And I'm thinking, I hope Spadafora knocks my guy out so we can get out of here in one piece. In one piece. I mean, for the promoter to go against his own guy. But obviously, I'm not saying nothing. I'm just quiet going, oh, my God, if we win, we're not getting out of here. So it goes 12 rounds. They're going to take it from us. But you know what? That's okay. Well, I'll explain to Johan. Look, we'll get a rematch, but let's have it in Venezuela. Something. We got to get out of here. Again, I have a horrible headache. We get in the ring right before the decision. I'm real proud of Johan. Hey, buen trabajo. I'm expecting, hey, they're going to give it to him. It's history in the making. This Johan Perez gets the decision. And I believe it was a unanimous decision.
Majority decision.
Okay, majority decision. It was a close fight, but when they gave it to him, I said, oh, no, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. I was really, really scared. So people started charging the ring. Now, remember, I heard the 12-year-old say this. Now I'm thinking, oh, my God, now they are going to kill the Spicks. And then they charged the ring, and I said, Johan, vámonos a la esquina, vámonos. Let's go. No celebrating, no pictures. Let's go straight to the dressing room and have security take us to the hotel. The hotel's right there. I mean, we fought in a tent, probably in the parking lot. Beto, Joel, everybody that charged the ring went over to hug Johan and get pictures and everything.
No!
Said, lo que quieran. Tómate las fotos que ellos pidan. Give them the trunks if they want.
Yeah.
Give them the trunk. Give them the gloves. Make sure we have friends here. It was just us, the fighter in the corner. So yeah, it was very scary. It was very scary. By the way, the headache. I get to the room, and I don't know if it was the tension from the fans or anything. I had never had that before. They take my blood pressure, and it was like 200 over 100 and something. I mean, way out of the normal. They even kept saying, you know what? This can't be normal. Let me retake it. So the doctor, Johan's doctor, comes and gives me a pill, and he says, look, this is going to help you a little bit, but when you get home, you better go and see the doctor because this is not normal. So obviously that got me nervous. That got me scared, but we came out with the victory.
They had never seen a dude like Johan Perez in that town. They still haven't seen him. They're like, wait a minute, he's not a Mexican? What is this Venezuela stuff? What is this? He's not a Puerto Rican?
I told Johan, hey, come back for vacation.
Yeah.
He said, look.
Hey, how big was that casino? It must have been a mess.
It was very small. Like I said, it was very movie. It was like a movie, And then years later, I saw a special on HBO, and I'm like, oh, that's where I was. Look, the same people from the special were at the fights. I'm like, all right, I've seen enough here.
It looked like,
But it was an experience.
For the people who've seen Ozarks, it was probably something like that, where it's on the riverboat, all kinds of stuff going on. Joel, for you, where were you scared?
Well, I mean, it's not scared. It's just worries. Like Roberto says, when you have other people, you go to somebody else's house, and all the odds are against you, the people and everything. And I mean, yeah, it's concerning because you're not supposed to win, and if you do, you're gonna have the whole crowd after you. I actually had at one point death threats due to the fact that I argued with a fan.
What?
For no reason. This guy, he started saying that when next time he sees me, he's gonna kill me, and this is like, really. It wasn't really that bad. It was just the fact that Tim Bradley fights in one of I think it was at the Omega. He fought El Títere Vázquez. Remember Títere Vázquez, Roberto?
Yeah, I fought Canelo a couple times. Yeah. Very difficult opponent.
Very difficult. Very complicated fighter. When Tim Bradley fought Títere Vázquez, Bradley gets hurt in the fight. That's when he got that. He thought he had a broken rib because he had one of his ribs was sticking out like this much through the fight. So he fought through the fight. I mean, he got hurt early in the fight, and he can't breathe. He can't breathe because, he says, "Coach, my rib is broken," and I see it and like, wow, it's bad. So he keeps fighting. Vasquez is really, really complicated. He moves. He's hard to hit. But, analyzing the fight, Bradley wins by a small margin, but he did win. Mm-hmm. And after the fight, they give the decision, and Bradley wins. There were some people that would go from the Coachella Valley area because Kenny Thompson, his company, it's a materials. So there's a lot of people here in the valley that buy materials from Thompson Boxing, from Thompson products. And those people, I knew them from the construction jobs because at that time, I was working construction myself. And I remember those guys were there. And when they gave that decision, they're mad. Obviously, the other guy is Mexican, Bradley's not. So, but these guys, I know them because we worked in town, and the fight is over, and they come from their seat all the way to the ring, and they're telling me, that's fucking bullshit, that's a robbery, your fucking fighter lost. And I'm like, hey, relax, I'm not the judge here. And they're like, fuck you. He goes, you paid the judges. And I'm like, and then when they said that shit, that got me mad. So then I started overreacting. I go, hey, so I'm getting off the ring. I go, really? I wanted to look at his face, and, But at that point, it got to that point where this guy started telling people, okay, next time I see him, I'm going to kick his ass. Oh. And I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. So like, okay, then we had a show at Thompson at Ontario after that. And I go, okay, these guys always go to the show. All right.
It's just a regular fan.
Right? Just a regular fan. It was a contractor guy that would always go with his employees.
Yes, 2007, Coach.
Yeah, so that was one time, but everything, never ran into the guy again. But it was always like, I always had my guard up, this guy threatening me in front of people, And just because they gave Bradley the decision against Vasquez, and he was really mad, he came from his seat right by the ring and started yelling at me and telling me that I paid the judges, that was a robbery, and this. And I go, really? This is some ignorant people, And another one was when my brother Julio fights in New York. Okay, he fights Justo Suncion, both undefeated fighters. I think Julio was 19-0 or 16-0, and Suncion was 19-0, both undefeated fighters. We go to New York. Obviously, I think he was Dominican.
Yeah.
Dominican. In New York, you got nothing but Dominicans. We go to this ballroom where nothing but Dominicans. And Julio just beats Suncion bad, like beats him up really bad, knocks him out. Roberto, after the fight, I don't even remember if we went to the dressing room. They took us out a back alley. I'm telling you. They took us out a back door through an alley where there's trash cans and stuff. I mean, like you watch that in the movies. I only see that in movies where you see in New York alleys where there's trash cans and there's rats and stuff. And we're walking. I mean, hey, let's go. Come on, let's go. So we're literally running through a back door through an alley to get to the hotel because that's how bad it was with the fans after Julio knocked out Justo Asuncion.
Man, the stories that you guys have, and that's pretty cool. Like, that's why it just to hear the different things, because you start wondering what you've gone through, what you see. But you're right. 2007, you're in Ontario. You never know. Guys have been drinking. Everybody has a question. And when you're in the club shows, they're so close to you. It's not like you're in Vegas and you have security guard Cuñado Deluxe that's like pushing everybody back. It's just there's people right behind you that touch you. It's just, and then boxing fans are really brave.
You got to remember, they're drinking all night.
Mm-hmm.
They're not there to work. They're there to have fun, but they start drinking. Remember when we were little kids watching a Bruce Lee movie, you come out and you start, so they're watching the fights. All of a sudden, they click it. I'm a fighter too. And boxing, it's a world sport. When I was younger, before I got into the business, you were very patriotic. You were very patriotic. Oh, man, the Mexicans fighting the Puerto Rican. I got to go with the Mexican. As I learned more in maturity and you learn more, I just enjoy boxing.
Yeah.
And I appreciate a good fighter, regardless where he's from. I mean, one of my big favorite fighters is Miguel Cotto. I loved how Miguel Cotto fought. So from all over the world, there's fighters that I admire and stuff like that, regardless of. So I find it like real immature where because he's Mexican, I have to go with the Mexican. Or because he's this, I have to go. Nah, fuck that. I go with the guy I like.
Yeah.
But I can see that.
Yeah. ¿Quién es mi gallo? Eso no importa. ¿Quién es tu gallo? That's what matters the most. And Razo will only go with the Rams play. If they like the Rams, that's all that matters. So exactly. There you go. That was pretty good. All right, so if you guys have any questions right now, type them in. Good ones, though. I'm going to skip through them. We're going to get a couple questions in there for you. Once again, Golden Boy is going to be back in session July 24th on DAZN, Virgil Ortiz. And then August 28th, back at Fantasy Springs in the bubble with Jorge Linares taking on Fonseca. That'll be a good one for you.
Fortuna.
For Javier Fortuna. There you go. So that'll be a good one in August. So Golden Boy will be on once a month, July and August as of right now. For those of you wondering what the rest of the schedule, dude, we don't even know when we're going to be able to leave our houses. So don't worry about what the schedule is going on later. As far as when Canelo's going to fight, like if he fights in September, he does. If he doesn't, whatever. I'm asking for everybody because nobody knows anything. Like I got told today about what I was supposed to do for the NFL. That's gone. It's not going to happen. So there it is. So you just, one day at a time, one ThursDIAZ at a time.
I mean, we're very fortunate that boxing is already back. Top Rank starting the shows, and Matchroom is going to start shows in the UK. We're going to start our shows here in California. There's other sports that are not starting or not going to do nothing this year. So, we're very, very fortunate. The fighters are fortunate that they can go out there and work because a lot of them depend on their fights.
Here's one from Jose right here. How much does Roberto scout the amateurs?
It's very important. We're very active. I mean, recently we just signed a couple kids from Hawaii that are tremendous amateur talents, and they haven't made their debut because obviously they were scheduled to do it at the Forum, and then we had the pandemic. But we're always looking, always hearing of fighters. Look, how did we pick up Frankie Gomez and the Danny Garcias, the Adrian Broder? These all came up through the amateur program. Virgil Ortiz. A lot of these kids come through it, but Deontay Wilder was a bronze medalist. So these are fighters that, you scout them from the beginning. You can't get them all. There's obviously the fighters that really do well in the amateurs. Everybody's after them. So you're just fortunate to, be able to work with the ones that you do and develop them and hope that they make it.
And Roberto,
but yes, we're very active with that.
So, and Joel, for you, I know you work with amateurs. But how do you know what, you have a lot of amateurs that say, hey, I want to turn pro. But for you, how do you tell a guy, you know what? Maybe pro boxing style is not for you. Or how do you know who can make that transition?
I've done it many times, Beto. There's a lot of, you see different styles. in every boxing gym, you're always gonna have different fighters with different styles. And there's fighters that are suitable for the professional business, and there's some that are not, as well as there's some that are ready, and there's some that are not. There's some that need to mature more. I mean, I run into kids that we've trained. My brother Antonio trains a lot of amateur fighters, and there's times in which he would tell me, "Hey, how about this kid? You know, he wants to turn pro." I would tell him straight out, he's not ready. He's not ready. Let's give him a little more time. You know, let's get him more fights. Right now, he's not ready, and we see him mature, we see him improve, and then we tell them exactly what they need, and we give them some time, and if they improve, and then we say, you know what, he's ready to go. But there's some that, I mean, as much time as you give them, they're never going to be ready. And I'm the type of person that I'm not going to take a kid to a fight when he's not ready and he's going to get hurt. I will never put a kid in the ring that I know is not ready. Honestly, there's been times in which even on Golden Boy, I mean, Robert Diaz has called me, "Hey, Joel, there's a kid. I want you to tell me what you think about him." And honestly, as much as I like the kid, I got to tell Roberto the honest truth. You know what, Roberto, this kid, honestly, he's not what you're looking for. You know, as bad as, I mean, there's a business side and there's a sentimental side. But I mean, there's times in which I got kids that are really good. I've known them since they were 8, 9 years old, and they're already 18, 19 that want to turn pro. I'm sorry, I can't, because I mean, you're only going to be an opponent. That's all you're going to be. I mean, there's fighters out there that become opponents. Their fighters are going to be contenders, and their fighters are going to be champions. And right now, in this era of boxing, honestly, only contenders and champions are the ones that get the attention. I mean, the other ones are just basically, you're going to be an opponent. And let's be straight out with them, because if you sugarcoat stuff, you're harming them. You can't lie to a person, regardless, a fighter, a person, and tell them, "Oh, you're good, you're gonna do this." He's not. You know, you can't, because along the road they'll figure it out. Like, come on, I just lost. Why'd you lose? You're not ready. I mean, there's a lot of trainers as fighters. There's trainers. There's trainers in the sport of boxing that will grab a kid, and just to be in the business of boxing, they'll take him as an opponent regardless. It don't matter if he loses. But you know, that's not the way it goes. You know, sometimes
there's levels to it. There are different levels.
You have to take care of your fighters, because if your fighter wins, you win. If you become a trainer that I don't care, I mean, as long as he gets paid, I don't care. I mean, and then you're on the losing side all the time. You're just in your comfort zone. That's not how it goes here.
Yeah, somebody asked me recently, like, "Oh, do you know who this fighter is?" And I looked him up on BoxRec, and like, you know, I told this person, I'm like, he's only fought in the ballrooms in downtown LA and at the Quiet Canyon. Like, his record, he's undefeated. But if you look at the opponents he's gone up against, there's a reason that they're that way. There's different levels to it. And you're right, Coach. Yeah. It's some people just want to be in the sport of boxing. And like, if for you to tell somebody, "Hey, you can't chase your dream," it's one thing. But it's be realistic about your dream. Like, you might have been a good amateur, but you've never developed. And there's just different levels to it. Like, everybody wants to get signed, but like, do you really want to be in the sport to make $500 at the end of the night? It's a terrible way to make a living.
It's a tough thing to tell them too, because look, I get so many emails. I mean, back in the day it was DVDs. I would get stacks of DVDs, and on my trips to fights, I would take a stack with me, and through the night at the hotel, watch the DVDs, and you'd get guys jumping rope. "I'm the next world champion. Look how good I jump rope," or "Look how good I shadow box." And they're in a bedroom, you know, throwing a couple punches at the camera, and it's like, okay, and you try to be respectful, because you never know. You never know who might start that way. And it's like, okay, how many amateur fights? Well, I have no amateur fights, but I'm ready to go pro. I can beat anybody you put me in front of, because I have street fights, and I'm undefeated in 2 street fights. You know, you get that kind of stuff, and it's like, all right, you know. So I try to recommend, look, why don't you go and do some amateur fights and see how you do there, and have a trainer tell you you're ready to go pro. It's, you know, I know a lot of them, it's their dream. A lot of them, it's not even their dream. It's their father's dream or the brother's dream. And he's ready to go pro. I remember a case in Texas, a young kid that I really got close to. Hey, come help me pass out gloves since he was real little. And he would spar, and good little fighter, good kid, very respectful. And the dad's like, we're ready to go pro. You know, when Omar Figueroa, we signed him, they were close. They were friends, the fathers and stuff. And all of a sudden it was like, well, if you sign Omar, how come you can't sign my son? But there was an age difference. I think the son was like 17. And I was like, what's the rush? You have your whole life ahead. You know, keep doing the amateur program and get experience, international experience, and travel the world and wait till his body matures. They went a different route. They signed. I think the kid retired with under 10 fights because it was too soon. He wasn't ready. And it's a shame because you don't know. That kid might have been a world champion someday, but he wanted to please his dad maybe, or he wanted the dream. Oh, even so, Nacho Beristain says I can do it. Absolutely, you have a future, but not yet. You're still un pollito. Yeah. They have to mature. Once you go pro, there's no turning back.
Yeah, it's a different world when you're trying to go pro. When you're 18, but you're going to be fighting a man who's 36, and it's like, hey, for a reason. Next question from our good friend Toño Diaz. For Roberto, what's the plan for Beck the Bully, who was hurting Toño on mitts yesterday?
Beck the Bully is special. I mean, and I say that I don't say that all the time.
No, you don't.
Like, I don't like saying, oh, he's an elite to just anybody, like even to the top champions. I don't say, oh, he's elite. He's a Hall of Famer. Time will tell, but he is very special because regardless of what he ends up doing in his career, he's very exciting. He's fun to watch. Anybody that hasn't seen him, go on YouTube, go find his fights. You'll become a fan. A guy that really enjoys what he's doing in the ring, smiling. I mean, he actually, Joel tells me stories that once the gloves are on,
he's
boom, boom, boom. He's like, I can't wait till the bell rings. I love seeing that energy from him. And what's next for him? August 28th, baby.
Okay.
He's back.
Roberto,
I know he's back in Indio training.
Yeah, he's been training. You know, when he fought in Pasadena, we're laughing after the fight because first round goes in there and fills out his opponent. And then he comes back and he says something in his language to Alec, right? And he goes in there and boom, knocks the guy out. So then after the fight, we're laughing because I tell Alec, what did he say? He goes, that guy hit him on the ear. So when he comes to the corner, he goes, hey, that guy hit him in the ear. I'm going to knock him out now. No, so his fight it sparked him up. But you know what?
That fight ended in the first round, though.
Right? Yeah, well, or something. He hit him in the ear, and he goes, as soon as he hit me in my ear,
yeah,
I said, I got to finish him. You know, he just sparked him up.
Yeah, so what happened with that, Coach, because I was working that one, he got hit, I remember, and he smiled, and then he knocked him out, and he broke the guy's rib. That tough dude, Mexican dude that you brought in.
Yeah.
And then when he went back to the corner, that's when you asked him, what did he tell you? And he's like, oh, he hit me. So I said, I'm going to knock him out. Like, he got excited because he got hit.
Yeah, because he got hit on the ear, and he goes, oh, man, as soon as he hit me on the ear, I said, I'm going to knock him out. But this is the thing with Beck. The thing with Beck is we saw him against Alexander, which Vaughn. It was a tough Vaughn Alexander, tough fight. And going into the fight, we know that Vaughn Alexander was in survival mode the whole fight because he was fighting very minimum, so he won't open up to get caught in that punch. Because Beck is programmed. I think Beck has a chip. He's computerized. As soon as you make a move, plap, he'll hit you right there, and it's over. You saw what happened to Clay.
Collard.
Clay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He hit him so many times, and he took the punch, but he's physically strong until he knocked him out, right? But the thing is this. Beck has not, at this point, with 5 fights that he has, we have not seen the best of Beck. Yeah. Honestly, you have not seen Beck. You have not seen Beck in a point where, all right, let's go. He's in there having fun. He's barely warming up. We never seen Beck like with a fighter that's coming to get him
to win,
where he's gonna open up to try to catch him, and that's the worst mistake. You have not seen Beck at his best yet. Wait till you have a competitive fighter against Beck the Bully in the ring, and you're gonna see the best of Beck. Beck, I mean, we cannot find sparring for him. We can't. He's been sparring heavyweights. I mean, I gotta give heavyweights. I got some heavyweights from Vegas, heavyweights, to spar him because, I mean, anybody at his weight, they can hang 2 rounds with him. Sometimes we bring sparring partners and we pay them to come sparring, and once he hurts him in the first round, and then we have to hey, just take it easy on him, just work with him to get the rounds, and we can't get the proper work with Beck.
And then he has a very unique style. You see Manny Pacquiao. When he unleashes, it's like and then the legs, how he moves out of the way. Beck has that. That his punch is the body shot, and you're gonna go in there, and he's still gonna land it on you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Except Von obviously had a lot of experience and everything, and protected the body. But even Adrian Luna came to me after the fight, and he said to me, that was the one from Pasadena, tough Mexican, rough type of guy that gives it 100% every time. And I had seen him knock out a guy at the Avalon. And I'm like, all right, let's give him somebody that can give him some rounds. And he does the same thing. Tyson Luna comes out after the fight and tells me, discúlpame, I come to fight, but this guy's too strong. He hurt me. I think he dropped Tyson twice in the first round.
Yep.
Yeah.
Both body shots.
So if you guys want to follow Beck the Bully or Bekdamir, BEK, just type in BEK and he's the first one that pops up on Instagram. He now has 202,000 followers on Instagram. He's a really famous Olympian. Here we go. All right, this one comes from Anthony of Vista, Ace of SoCal, our good friend. But Roberto, is there anything that you've taken from watching the Top Rank matches that maybe influence the way you approach making fights, or do you have to stick to your own game plan?
Oh, no, you always learn. Look, there's 2 tremendous matchmakers at Top Rank, Bruce Trampler and Brad Goodman. I mean, you always learn. You're always learning. Boxing fighters are always learning. Trainers are always learning. Matchmakers are always learning. We can always learn from each other. Something that we've done in the past that I'm seeing right now, and it's probably because of the situation, to get more rounds, to get more fights in, is you get 2 opponents and put them together. Now, the 2 opponents are coming to win. And those fights make for even fights and good fights, because nobody's overmatched the other one. They're very even. And I've done that in the past. I've brought in 2 opponents and say, okay, here, I'm going to give you guys a chance. The winner, obviously picks up a win to go on to be an opponent for one of the young fighters or something. But you sometimes get some of the best fights there because in their mind, neither of them are the opponent. So they're coming, to give it all. So, yeah, absolutely. More than anything, I'm just very eager to give what normally would have taken like a tune-up. Right now, the mentality is, look, you need a tune-up, then wait. Because right now, what the fans want to see, they don't want to see tune-ups. They want to see fights.
Yeah. That's a good one. You want to see fights. Marco J311, I'm disappointed in you, Marco. Not Marco Pelayo, a different Marco. This guy is a real smart fan. He goes to Belasco. He buys tickets. He's legit. And his question is, and don't even answer this, guys, how true is it that Ryan Garcia against Henry Cejudo, the MMA fighter? Marco, you're better than that. You are better than that, Marco. Te voy a regañar. You're going to put you in timeout. No more questions from you. Go take care of your 8 kids. If you know anything about Ryan Garcia, you know he's going to call out people he's not going to fight. So why would you even ask that? He calls out an MMA guy, and he has you talking about it. Marco, I'm disappointed in you. But
don't go hard on him. Beto, don't go hard on him. Don't be hard on him.
He's too smart.
He called out Romero Duno, and he did it. He called out Luke Campbell, and right now we're in the works. So he's backing up the call outs.
No, I'm talking about the call outs against the MMA guy. He ain't gonna do that.
I don't think he called him out. I mean, the way I saw it, I don't think he called him out. He did a comment like, "Oh man, this guy has quick hands or something. It would be cool. How would he match with me? Would you?" But it wasn't like calling him out. It was more like, "What do you guys think?" To the fans, all of a sudden, I guess
it was just more like a question.
Yeah, and I think the fans just took it over like, "Whoa, man, he's calling him out." And now I think Cejudo said he'll come out of retirement to fight him.
Yeah, either way, Marco, you're better than that. See, yeah, Marco. It's because the
shot. Be nice to him, Roberto. Be nice to him. He's a fan.
No, he's a real nice guy. He's a real nice guy. And he upset me, so I'm gonna take a shot.
You good? You good with a bottle?
No, I think ya me voy poniendo bien tequilero. So I'm gonna go to tequila one day. We're gonna hang out here.
Is it tequila or agua de tamarindo? It's not because
it's agüita de limón.
Oh no.
Salud. Salem, happy birthday again. Woo! Sam Contreras checking in. Hey, Sammy, how you doing? Everything going on? Good for you. Good trainer. Does a lot of good work. Well, Roberto, since you mentioned Ryan Garcia, what's the latest with Luke Campbell?
Well, the WBC ordered the fight for the interim title. Negotiations are started, and we have to the end of the month. If we don't come to an agreement, then they order a purse bid. And whoever wins the bid does the show, does the fight.
Oh, so it's a purse bid. All right. There you go.
No, it's not a purse bid yet. Right now, we're in free negotiation period, where basically means both promoters negotiate. And if there's no agreement made, we can't come to terms, then it'll go to the purse bid.
Got it.
Right now, it's in free negotiation period. So we're waiting to see, who does the best deal and does the fight.
El negocio. Tony Bracamontes, Rashidi Ellis, what's the deal with him?
Rashidi Ellis is back on August 28th on the Jorge Linares undercard. We recently did, last week was the WBA virtual. It was the 99th convention, and it was virtual. We did it just like this. We requested his ranking, which unfortunately I don't know why. He holds an international belt. Previously, he had been ranked, and then over the last 2 or 3 months that we've been on shutdown, he dropped out of the ranking. So that was one of my petitions to the WBA, saying, hold on. This is one of the top welterweights in the world. He needs to be ranked. And not only ranked, he needs to be in the top 10 in the world. Today, he's number 9 in the world. And Rashidi, it's unfortunate, but I read a lot of comments. And to all the fans out there listening to us, don't think I don't. I listen to your comments. I'm always trying to please with the fans, because at the end of the day, without the fans, we wouldn't be where we are. Rashidi is tremendous talent, and we know that. And sometimes they say, oh, you guys don't promote Rashidi, and Rashidi had an injury. Rashidi was, unfortunately, after a weigh-in, he was the main event of the ESPN fight in Vegas prior to Canelo Golovkin won, and he was in a very tough fight with Juan Carlos Abreu, very tall, strong kid. I think Dominicano también. They both made weight. The fight's on. Next day, fight day, or right after the weigh-in, I don't remember, Rashidi didn't feel well and he was rushed to the hospital. They found complications. He had something going on. He couldn't even fly home for a few days. He had to stay in Vegas because he couldn't get on the plane. That's all been cleared. After that, there was an injury. I don't know if it was the shoulder or the elbow. Put him out for a while. And then obviously he was scheduled to fight prior to the pandemic. He was on one of the cards, I believe on the March card where Virgil was going to fight. He was also on the undercard, and that got canceled. So it's just been, a tremendous talent, a kid that's been in Canelo's camp a few times, giving Canelo some very good sparring, very fast, very flashy. He's fought in Cancun for me. He's fought in Puerto Rico for me.
Dude.
Very good. Look, lightning fast, great smile, always in the gym training, number 9 in the world. What that means is any day one of the champions has a voluntary, we can get a call. Is Rashidi ready? Because now when you're in the top 15, top 10, you can fight for the world title. Now, he'll make a fight. He'll do a fight August 28th, get some of the dust off, have a good opponent that's going to test him. But if he wins from number 9, he could jump up to 7. A couple of the other guys are going to fight between them. Somebody's going to lose. They'll drop out. He can move up even to number 5. I see Rashidi very close to world title, and nobody's going to give it to him. Nobody's going to say, you know what, I got a voluntary. Let me fight Rashidi Ellis. Undefeated, strong, young, fast. He has to become a mandatory for a world champion to say, okay, I'll fight him because he's my mandatory. So it's going to be a process, but I think we're in the right direction and we're very close now.
We'll see him in August on DAZN. This one comes for you, Roberto, from Tony Bracamontes. What's going to happen with the fighters who are in Mexico, like Munguia, Curiel, and Duarte? So how do you get those guys going?
Well, obviously they have P1 visas right now. The borders are closed, I believe. Mexico, I think they recently they're gonna open pretty soon. They're not open, I believe, right now.
But no, they close it again.
They close it again, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so once they're open, they can start coming over and fight. Look, I think now it's time for William Cepeda and Luis Hernandez to come out here and fight in the U.S. so that the U.S. fans can see two of the best Mexican prospects that we have. Fortunately, before the pandemic and before the lockdown, Luis Hernandez, William Cepeda, and Oscar Duarte at least got a fight in. They fought in Chihuahua, of course, in Parral. But they're all ready. They're training, and they're anxious to get back in there. Hopefully, we can get Facebook series back and start, our thing over there. But if not, I want to bring them to the U.S. now to start bringing them in along with Joseph Aguirre.
So that's interesting you say that. And actually, look at this guy. James Crunch Time Wilkins is checking in right now. That's another great story for Crunch Time out of the East Coast. Yeah. There you go. So we'll see him. Oh, you're taking a shot, Roberto? If you're going to take a shot.
No. My battery was showing I was connected, but it's connected. It's connected.
Oh, okay. I was going to say
it's connected now.
But that's
of course.
Oh, well.
A shot for James Crunch Time Wilkins.
Yeah, and then I am drinking Tecate that my neighbor gave me on 4th of July. Tecate. Isn't it Be Bold or whatever? I don't even know the so good. But this is a Tecate original, the red one. So on 4th of July, my neighbor Oscar, who was just lighting up everything he could think of, I'm like, Oscar, I was like, hey, give me a beer. I'm holding a craft beer, and he knows I drink craft beers. And he had beer. I'm like, give me one. He's like, he had a regular Tecate and a Tecate light. I was like, let me get the light. He's like, no. He goes, here, drink a real Tecate. I'm like, so this is a Tecate for a man right here. So yeah, this is a man's beer. So I don't know what I'm doing with it, but
just drink it.
Be bold, be bolder. So there you go. You're good, Roberto. We still hear you.
Something happened.
The light went down. You all right?
Okay.
Still hear you. The coach, for you, your Mexican fighters. What's the deal with them? Like, do you give them instructions like Duarte, who's in Chihuahua? Like, are you giving him a workout? What's the deal for you?
I'm in touch with Duarte almost on a daily basis, honestly. And I just want them to stay active, doing, which is the most important thing is, go to the gym, get some boxing work, hit the punching bags and, get basically the workout that we do, Obviously, the sparring is not there. It's the only thing that is not there for them because they don't have the sparring. But other than punching the bag and doing some mitts, Oscar Duarte, his brother is there with him. His brother helps with the mitt work, which is good. Joseph Aguirre is also another one who is in Cancun, and he's been training. He's been working, doing his boxing activity. Punching bags, doing some hits, and jumping rope, shadow boxing, and doing his runs. Joseph Aguirre's family, they all went through the COVID. Everybody was positive. His father and his grandpa. His father and his grandpa. I spoke to his father recently. He called me. Him and his grandpa were in a house they've been in the house for like 35 days. They were in the hospital for 10 days. And they were sent home, but he told me, Coach, it was really bad. We had fever. Our whole body was hurting for days. And then we went to a hospital when we were really bad, and they had us in a hospital for 10 days. He says, it's really bad because you're in a room by yourself. And one nurse comes, like, all suited up once in a while. So you're basically alone for a long time. He says, my daughter had COVID, when she was pregnant, she gave birth to the baby, and she said she hasn't seen the baby yet. They took the baby as soon as she gave birth, and I've seen my granddaughter only on pictures on FaceTime, But that's the reason why the dad told Joseph, stay away, go and stay with your friend, and stay over there until we're good, we're cleared. And actually, this week they were gonna go and do the test again. After 30-some days that they've been isolated in a room, in a house, and they're feeling better now. So thank God, Joseph's family, everybody's already over it. I spoke to Saul Sanchez this morning too. I mean, early today. Him and his whole family got it, and everybody's already feeling better. Saul is still coughing a little bit. He tells me once in a while I still get a little fever, but I'm already over it. It's been almost 3 weeks.
Yeah, him and
But
Emilio, the brothers got him.
him, Emilio, his mom, his dad, everybody got it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's real. It's real. I mean, when you're hearing that athletes are getting really sick and sore and fevers, these are some of the best conditioned, best healthy, and they're still getting sick. So for everybody else out there, it's real. Wear that mask and take all precautions.
Roberto, let me ask you this: if a fighter tests positive, I mean, what do you guys do as like a matchmaker, promoter? Like, what? Like, are you allowed to get them in a fight, or how's that work?
If they test positive,
no, I'm saying if they don't have a fight, like right now, say Emilio Sanchez right now, who just tested positive, what do you have to do in order to get him back into the ring?
Well, once he's cleared and he's out of it, then he returns to his training. Emilio's running, doing his training.
Okay.
I know he wants to fight, and we've been in contact with his management. It's just as soon as more dates, Emilio is one of the first ones to fight. A Joette's ready to fight. A lot of these kids have been training and are ready to fight. We're just waiting to get some more dates and start matching them. So we got Rene Alvarado and Roger Gutierrez that were supposed to fight prior. It's a world title fight. They're ready. There's so many guys out there that are ready. Sulem Urbina, I know she's training. She's always ready, and credit to her because we don't have her date yet. But I'll tell you right now, so everybody knows that
we need a title right there.
Absolutely, my promise to her, and we've been talking, is her next fight is for a WBC title, and I'm hoping it's sooner than later because you know what? She's been very patient. She's very good.
Working hard every day. I mean, training every day. So that title needs to come.
Absolutely. In fact, I was thinking the other day, something that we can give back to the fans and something that I'm working on. Obviously, there's hurdles, but I would love to do in October an all-female card. For October, obviously, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and imagine an all-female card. You have Franchon, you have Senicia, you have Marlene, you have Sulem. We also recently, before the pandemic, signed a young girl out of Mexico. Were you in Chihuahua in Parral, Beto? Yeah. Anabel Ortiz, the world champion.
She's good.
And she's very good. She has like 13 title defenses. Very, very good. Signed her as well. So, we can put a real good card, very competitive, and eventually this group of ladies, of champions, are going to be fighting each other. So, the more they fight. Years ago, women's boxing was very strong here in the U.S. Then it came to a point where it went down, and it got really strong in Europe, and it got really good in Mexico, and it got really good in Asia. But the U.S., it went down because there wasn't enough names and talent. Today, the U.S. boxing has picked up, and something that, at first we were not really signing female boxers. Now we have a handful. And we've been trying to put one on each card. And you'll see it. July, you have a Senicia. In August, you're going to have the return of Marlene. Because she was scheduled right before the pandemic. And then the next one, I want to see Sulem and then Franchon. And, obviously, when we open the borders, bring over Anabel. And there's going to be some very, very good and competitive fights.
That's interesting. It's the marketing of what you got to do. And I don't, Marlene, whether you love her or hate her, there's people that are really huge Marlene Esparza fans out there. Like, you can't say anything bad about Marlene. People defend her. Same with Senicia. It's interesting. They have a good little rivalry going.
Marlene comes from a great state, a great boxing state. I mean, Texas. And Marlene has. I mean, look, she represented the U.S., the Olympic team, and tremendous talent. And I think we haven't seen the best. Look, I want to see her become a world champion. I want to see Sulem become a world champion, and then all of them start fighting each other. You know what? That'll make it to the back to the biggest stages.
Here's a good one from Mr. Boxing Guru, who is not trolling for the first time. Are women boxing going to 3-minute rounds? Like, I feel the 2-minute rounds are not enough to really do enough damage.
Well, there's controversy. There's, the WBC. I've spoken to Mauricio about it. He's obviously Mauricio, WBC, like all organizations and like all of us, we want safety first. But I personally, my feeling, and look, we broke ground. I don't know if it's the only fight or that it was the first fight or anything, but Cenicia and Marlene was 3-minute rounds. We spoke to both ladies. They both agreed. We spoke to the commission, the organizations. They approved. It's how you want to see it. So one side says 3 minutes is too much. And there's a more possibility of injury. Okay? Nobody wants to see anybody injured. However, the other side says if it's 3 minutes, there's a better chance of the knockout. That's why a lot of the female fighters, the ladies, don't have knockouts, because the 2 minutes is, ya se están calentando, ping, the round's over.
Yeah.
So it's like, I almost had her. That minute rest, the other lady comes out and she's great condition, so she recuperates. So if you do the 3 minutes, let's think of it this way. You're going to have more knockouts. Is that going to be more injuries? Or is that less damage over the long period? Because if there's a knockout in the 3rd round versus going 10 rounds, who's really getting more damage? So I know they've told me there's been studies, the actual body, how it's composed, there's more chance of risk. I'm not saying 3 minutes for every fight. 4-rounders and 6-rounders, 8-rounders, 2 minutes. Stay at 2 minutes. Championship world title fights, the 10-rounders, those elite fights, those very even fights at 3 minutes could be exciting. You could get stoppage. So it's still up for, depending on the commissions, depending on the participants and their teams. I think we should leave it open to their decision.
There you go. Roberto, one of these days when you're running a commission, I just want a job there. I don't even want to do a job. I just want a job, because you're going to be involved with a commission. You're going to be a president, and I want to be like that guy who was in charge of the flags. Well, all he did was take the little flag. The guy that was the bigote.
Just swinging the flag, huh?
That's it. So when I'll do the job for $300,000. Simple as that. Because the commissions are, they're nonprofit, of course. So I want to make sure that I can be the guy waving the flag when you're in charge of your own commission. Hexar joins in right now. And Hector does a great job in the Coachella Valley. He works for Top Rank, does an amazing graphic work for them. He's amazing. So Hector, appreciate you joining us right now. Top Rank had a show tonight. Actually, they've had a show every Tuesday and Thursday. Mikey Williams does a great job for it. So last call for questions from you, the fans, and then I'm going to get going with them because I need another shot. I have my Tecate beer. As always, Roberto como the modelo. Roberto, it's interesting. You're like the most interesting Mexican in the world. Because
he goes from Louis XIII to Modelo. Right.
Right now I'm on a budget to try to save for the next Louis XIII.
We're on a budget. That's why during the week you're having caviar.
That was a very quiet little
Modelo right now.
That's the reason. Yeah, that's the reason. Right now is Modelo y tortillas y frijoles.
Okay, so you go big one night and then maldita pobreza. And Coach, once again, work for the people joining us right now.
Mexican caviar, frijolitos.
Yeah. For the people joining us right now, Coach, show off your shirt courtesy of Nike. People can go to there it is. We will box again. A Nike shirt. Go to Coach's Instagram and you'll find the link to buy it. Our good friend Aldahir bought a couple of shirts, and all proceeds are going to be going to Joel's amateur program that he and Tonio run. So make sure you guys need to go and support that right now.
Aldahir was my model. You noticed that, right?
Aldahir.
I told Aldahir, hey, Gallo, take a picture, and you're gonna be my model. So I posted him out there.
Yeah,
he works good for a model.
Yeah, hey, when you're that skinny, you can do it.
Yeah.
Shout out to Aldahir.
Aldahir does a great job. So when you run over a commission, and then Aldahir is the matchmaker, we have all kinds of jobs for everybody. Leones Paulus answered about.
Hey, But I gotta send it a little message. I won't approve his fights.
Yeah.
When he said Mint's a fight, I'm not gonna approve it. No, that's a sucky fight. No, I'm not gonna approve it. Just to give him that hard time. Como me hacen a mí.
Exactly. Leonis Paul is asking about the fights in Texas. I think right now Golden Boy is really just worried about trying to get a fight going off in Fantasy Springs before you start going out of the state.
So we got a call from Texas when things started opening up saying, hey, guys, just to let you know that here in Texas, you can bring the show, you can bring it, and we're going to open it up to an audience. Of course, that got the attention. But at the same time, it's like, hey, but we're still in a pandemic. I read recently that they just canceled the show because
this Saturday.
I think, because what happened was I think they opened up too soon, and then there was a spike. So, you know what? Let's go back down to lockdown or closure or no attendance and stuff like that. So we still got to take it slow. Even if they tell us, you know what, you can start opening up. There's nothing better for us. We want it. That's where we sell tickets. That's where we, as the promoters, bring in a lot of that revenue. But at the same time, we don't want to have an arena full of people, and then all of a sudden, here tomorrow, so many people tested positive for going to a show. You know, you're going there to release, to have fun, to enjoy. The last thing you want is to go there and people walking out getting sick. So it's going to be a while. I think it's going to be, hopefully not, but I think it's going to be for end of the year maybe before we start seeing attendance, maybe next year.
Wow. And then, so definitely there's no going out of the state for you guys. Maybe Vegas.
No, there is. Maybe Vegas, because obviously Vegas is still doing it closed doors. Or if we go to other states, it'll probably be under the same rules that we're doing now or that we're going to do with no audience.
Man, yeah, it's interesting time because then it's not just the fighters that people have to worry about. Then it's also your staff that you have to take. The cortacheques, or you got the matchmakers. You got to take everybody else out there. It's an interesting time right now. For Roberto, for you, for your fighters that are out of the country, like say a Quigley who's in Ireland, you have Duarte in Cancun, or Linares who's in Japan. How do you talk to them? What do you tell those guys about what we can do? Or is it just, I don't know, guys? What is it as you as a...
No. So we're in contact with everybody all over. I mean, I've been in communication with Quigley. Obviously, I'm real close to Jason, and we're always, sending messages back and forth. Good thing is once travel restrictions are open, these guys have P1 visas. They can come in because it's work related. So they'll be able to fly in, finish up camp, and fight. It's just a matter of getting them the fights and having them, obviously they're all staying ready. Linares is training in Japan. Obviously he's scheduled already. But the other guys like Duarte and Jason, they're just waiting for the date and the opponent, and they're ready to go.
So you can bring them in. What about, the backbone of boxing, the hardcore Mexican dudes who are like 10-7 that you need as an opponent, like a Duel O'Guin, for example, a guy in Guadalajara that you can call to be an opponent. Like you can't call them on 2-3 days notice anymore, right?
No. A lot of these guys right now are stuck. They're gonna, when they open up in Mexico and start doing fights, and they're gonna have to fight there for a while. But the restrictions right now are you have to have a P1 visa. Well, you always have to have a P1 visa. You can't come to fight or work without the proper documentation. But a lot of these guys, right now are just waiting. I get calls all the time from Hugo Partida. Hey, any opponents? And I'm like, not yet. I want to use, because we've thought about this too. What if in the travel coming here, in the plane, they catch it? And then once they get here, because they might be negative at home, and then, through the travel, the airports and everything, they pick it up, and then they get here and so right now it's like, let's try. And that's what I think Top Rank, I see a lot of critics, this fight. You got a very small pool to work with right now. And that's what we said, I think last week, is if you don't like it, turn it off, change the channel, go to Netflix, go to YouTube, watch an old fight. But if you're really a boxing fan, enjoy what you have now, because at least we have something,
There's something to do. And this is why he's your guy. Javier Razo, Matchmaker Deluxe, says we can use Olguin. He's an American citizen. So he's American and Mexican.
Hey, Yayo. Hey, you said
I wasn't aware of that. I wasn't aware of that. But hey, the Olguin is one of those kids that, look, tough kid, always comes to fight, gives great fights. If one of the young prospects, look at this, right? I'm going to take a little shortcut. I'm not going to run today. He's one of those spoilers. He's one of those guys that'll come in here, and if you're not 100% ready, doesn't matter how talented. If you didn't put in those miles, he could pull up the upset. He did it before.
Yep. Thanks to everybody who's been watching the show tonight, who's been drinking with us. I know a lot of people double fisting tonight. I'm on my second beer. Thanks for joining us. And before we get going, the last thing, Coach, update on the gym. Where's the homeless guy at?
He hasn't been around. Honestly, he hasn't been around.
He got
evicted. And now a couple of guys that are around the neighborhood, they're taking care of my property.
Oh, nice.
They're taking care of I go over there every day. I go every day and in the morning, afternoon. Actually, they started already. They already dropped all the burn section. It's already on the ground. Today, I called them for a trash container, a big container. Tomorrow morning, 6 in the morning, I'm already over there, loading it up and, just getting things ready, just moving things around. And I'm motivated. I already visualized that place within 3 months, ready to go. And you guys, it's like, to me, I wake up at 5 in the morning and I'm anxious to be there and moving things around, dropping things, demoing things, So right now, I just called one of the neighbors and I said, "Hey, was my container delivered?" "Yes, sir. It's right there. Make sure that nobody around the neighborhood throws trash in that container." "Oh, no, don't worry. We're on it right now." So even some of the guys that are around the neighborhood, they're just walking around. I told them, "Hey, we'll just keep an eye on here and I'll take care." Sometimes if you can't beat them, join them, Yeah, honestly, I see it this way. If you take care of them and say, "You know what, just speak to them right and tell them, hey, you know what, I got a project going on here. Just keep an eye and, once in a while, just give them $10, whatever. They'll take care of it for you." So that's right now my project. Tomorrow morning, early morning, I wake up, get my coffee and go, and I'll do as much as I can on my own, clean it up. And as soon as everything's cleaned up, they're going to redo. They already got the material. They're going to redo everything. I already got everything ready to go, just back to back. As soon as the city gives me the permits, I'm not stopping. So it's good. Everything's moving on really well. Like I said, I got everything every morning before I leave. I got my notebook. I organize my day. I call people. I got the plumber. I got the electrician. I got the framer. I got the guy doing my windows, my floor. Yesterday, some guy calls me.
Yeah, and Coach, right now I'm showing a picture of where Toño said you guys knocked down the roof. I'm showing a picture to everybody right now.
Yeah, so this guy called me and tells me, "Hey, Coach, I got this thing going on right now. I got this machine. If you let us come to your house, this machine has electro something. It's like a sprayer that sprays your whole house. You don't have to wipe anything. It disinfects your whole house. It sanitizes your house, whatever." He goes, "We can come to your house and do it for free. Just let us do some videos and, you put it on your social media." Really? And this guy, what he does floors, he does floors, epoxy floors, all the cement, any cement, he'll make it look nice any way you want it. So I told him, "Hey, you know what? Yes, you can come to my house, but I'm going to need you. I got a project going on." I go, "I got a big gym that I'm working on right now, and I want to see if you can do my floor." He goes, "Whatever you need, Coach, just let me know, and we'll go over there and we'll do your floor." Great. So every single day, something is falling in place for me. Thank God, honestly. And I'm pushing it every day, every day. Tomorrow, I know tomorrow I'm going to go in the morning, and I'm gonna train the guys from 11 to 3, and after that I'm gonna go back to the building. Saturday morning I'm gonna be there all morning. Even though it's 120 degrees here, I'm gonna work at least 3 hours, 2, 3 hours before it gets hot. But I'm gonna work every single day, even on Sunday. I gotta get that. That building ready. Like I said, I'm giving myself 3 months, and it's gonna be ready by then.
Wow, that's awesome. I think before I go checking into the bubble, I got to go by that gym and see it. As we will be in Indio July 24th for Golden Boy. It's a Friday night show. Virgil Ortiz is on the card, the main event. You also see Sinisa Estrada there. That'll be on DAZN. So, Coach, I think I'm going to go. I have to get there Wednesday morning, so I'm going to go by your gym. I'm going to go spar with Beck. And then...
yeah, before you check into the bubble, come to the gym, check out the workout, whatever day you're coming in. Even if it's sparring day, I want you to come and watch the sparring. And before you go into the bubble, we'll go eat and then you go check in. Yeah. But I want to give you a tour. I want to give you a tour of the building. You're gonna say like, wow, because everybody that walks into the building, honestly, everybody's like, wow, this is. I mean, you're talking about 6,250 square feet.
Yes, I will be there on Wednesday, that Wednesday morning before I check into the bubble. So, Roberto, are you going to Indio that week?
I will. I will be there. And I have a good idea for you. You said you're going to be like a backup to one of the commentators.
So Todd Grisham is going to be on the call, and Sergio Mora is going to be his partner. If either of those guys get sick or they test negative, I fill in for them as long as I test negative.
Okay, so my idea, look how I got your back. Send one of them to do 1 round sparring with Beck. Oh, they don't have to get sick. I don't want them to get sick. Look, I don't want them to get sick. But just 1 round with they might not make it bubble. And Beto jumps in. Hey, I'm here. So you don't spar with Beck. Let them spar with Beck.
And you know what? Yeah. You know what? And let's get Sergio. You know what? Let's get Sergio to spar Beck. Because at one point in one of the interviews, he said that to him, Robert Garcia was the best trainer out there. So, I mean, that's his opinion, and I respect it. But bring him to spar Beck 1 round.
Yo no digo nada. I love my partners at DAZN. Everybody's amazing.
Hey, I mean, he was a great boxer. Actually, he was the winner of the
Contender.
Contender. So he should help us. And right now, I think he's about Beck's weight. All we need is 1 round. I mean, right now, I have not sparred since I sparred Marco Antonio Perivan, but I'll spar again. I don't care.
Sergio's retired. We'll leave him alone. Because I know I can take Beck. That's easy. Yeah, I can.
Really?
I can take.
You got to put a helmet, football helmet. Put a 49er helmet on. Go in there with
I can take Beck. I can take Beck to your gym to knock down walls. I can take him to your horse. I can take him anywhere. I will be Beck's driver, like the mover. I will be the Uzbekistan mover. I will take him wherever you want because that is a scary guy. I will do whatever you want.
Beto, today I walk in the gym because today I drove to LA. Today I had to go and finalize my taxes for the year and stuff. So I told Antonio, I'm driving to LA. I have a meeting at 10 a.m. So I left from here at 8 in the morning, got to downtown LA at 10. It only took me like 10, 15 minutes. I mean, as a matter of fact, my wife and I, we parked and we paid the meter 1 hour. So we go in the office, come back in 15 minutes. We get on the road and we come back. So we have a group that we train from 11 to 1 and another group from 1 to 3. So I got home before 1 o'clock, like 12:45. So I make it to the gym, and as soon as I walk in the gym, I run into Beck. Beck doesn't speak no English whatsoever. So, but we communicate due to signs. And then he tells me that Antonio wanted to do mitts with him with body shield. But he hit so hard that Antonio tells him, Beck, today, no. Only, Hey, Roberto, I start laughing because of his face. He goes, Coach, Tony, today, he says, no. He goes, today only. Like, take it easy. So
Work on speed. Work on speed.
So I start laughing because of his face. He goes, Coach, Tony, today? No. Today only. Like, the way he does his face, he raises his chin, he goes, only like this. I go, oh, so today easy? He says, yes. Today, Tony, no. No bully. Today only easy. Okay. So I got that going all day long. We're in the gym and I go, Beg, so what happened with Tony today? He goes, today, no. Only easy. Okay.
See, Tonio's going to get mad.
Antonio's smart.
Yeah.
Today, when Joel was out of town, he's doing his business. Antonio said, today, no, but tomorrow when Joel's back, doble, go.
Yeah, Roberto, I'm going to tell you something. Look, every Tuesday in my workout is this. We spar Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So on Tuesdays, we do like a nonstop training. Mitts and body with no rest. We start a week towards a fight date to where they do 15 minutes of work, consistent work, nonstop. Antonio does 1 minute of mitts, and I do 1 minute of body work. That consistently, they don't get a break. So, Tuesday we did 9 minutes with one and 7 minutes with Beck. So Antonio held the body shield. So Antonio has to put pressure on Beck, and Beck is just body shield, and I do mitts. It's like switch 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. I told Antonio, I'm not doing no body shield with Beck. You do it. I'm not. Hell no. Doing body shield with Beck, I go home and I don't want to get up for the next 2 days. Honestly. So Antonio does it because Antonio has like a little extra around his body. He's a little fluffier. Antonio eats a little extra burritos. So I let him do that. I don't do that. I mean,
just so the fans know and can appreciate if they don't know who Beck is.
Yeah.
After his last fight. Yeah, after his last fight. When was his last fight?
That was when Ryan
Garcia, Valentine's Day.
What? No. Before that one.
That was.
No, you're right. After the Valentine's Day. No, I'm sorry. After the Vaughn Alexander fight, before the Valentine's Day. That was last year, right? Vaughn Alexander.
Yeah.
His team called right after the fight. They got out of the ring. He had just gone 10 rounds for the first time. I mean, first of all, how many fighters do you know with 4 fights going in a 10-rounder? Okay? And went to 10 rounds with a tough guy, a veteran, experienced guy.
Coach,
they got out of the ring.
Okay, Lachín. All right, go, Roberto.
And they said, hey, Robert, see if you can get, I'm going to say it here, a lot of people don't know this, see if you can get Sergey Kovalev for Beck next.
We want him.
To that level is where Beck and his team believe in him and know the type of fighter. And it might be a little too soon, but you'll never know unless he gets in there. Kovalev obviously is an experienced world champion, 2-time world champion, has a lot of fights, is still one of the best jabs in boxing and still very dangerous with the right hand. But they're willing to do that. And there's a lot of fighters out there that, hey, I'll fight anybody. I'll fight him. I'll fight it. But they're not willing to step in the ring when the fight's presented. Beck is. Yeah. And that's the type of fighter he is, and his team believes in him. And obviously, that's a promoter's dream. Somebody that not just says it, but is willing to do it.
His name, Roberto, and I'm gonna tell you something. I spoke to his team recently, and they asked me, and honestly, I'm gonna tell you straight out right now. I mean, for Beck right now, I'll take what's his name, the Canadian guy,
David Lemieux.
I'll take David Lemieux for Beck.
Wait, hold on. Beck fights at 168 or 75?
Yeah. 68.
That guy's at 68? Chingasu.
He's fought a little heavier to accommodate the opponent who came in last minute.
That's why.
But he's 168. He has an international belt with the WBA at 68, and he's already in the top 14 in the world.
if you guys wonder, like, why are we talking about a dude you nobody heard of? So Bektemir Melikuziev, 2016 Olympic silver medalist in Rio. He's 5-0, 4 KOs. And I said this at the Canelo Kovalev press conference where I was the host of it. I was like, and I introduced him. They call him Beck the Bully. He's 4-0, 4 broken ribs. And Roberto told me, don't say that because people don't want to fight him now. I'm like, but it's true though.
It gives Robert more work, and he has to pay more money for opponents. Don't say it.
But it's true though, right?
I just offered the number 12 ranked fighter in his division, a couple steps above him. Mm-hmm. And the manager came back and said, no, you know what? He's injured. But also the fighter said, no, you know what? That guy's tough. Yeah. So I'm looking right now. I have a couple names that I'm going to present. And it's a kid. One of the kids that I'm looking at is a very tough, durable fighter that has been in there with, you name it. He's been in there with Chavez Jr. He was in there with David Lemieux, went the distance with both of them, and working on making that fight. Because if he goes the distance, great, that's experience. But if he can stop a guy that went the distance with Junior and David Lemieux, because David Lemieux can punch. But if Beck knocks this guy out, that's a huge statement.
And then Tonio keeps typing in Lemieux. Tonio, why don't you just text Razo that, okay? Leave better comments on here. Right? Tonio the matchmaker.
Tonio can't even spell Lemieux.
You're right. Coach,
after the Margarito fight, Antonio can't even spell Lemieux.
Fish, you just said it. He spelled it Lemiux. He forgot the E.
He forgot the E.
Lemieux.
A shout out to David, man. He's a good guy. Golden Boy fighter. Yeah. Tremendous puncher. And he's been training also, waiting for the call.
Yeah, David, we've heard his name rumored around all kinds of different places. So we'll see what goes on with David Lemieux. Oh, my God. We've been doing this for 2 hours, hour and 56. I had to get another shot. Coach had a shot. Roberto has a Modelo. And it's Solen Urbino's birthday. So, Maldita Pobreza. Cheers. Salud.
Hey, we will box again. Look.
Absolutely.
Mira, Tonio put.
We will box again.
Tonio, right now, he spelled, we want Lemieux, and he spelled it correct.
His son spelled it for him. You know what? I always get that kind of stuff. Like Alex Campanovo, every time he tells me something, and then I get it right, or I do the correct question or answer, and he goes, yeah, Junior did it for you. He's a smart one. And that's what it is.
Hey, you got to have good help. You got to have a good IT department. So all kinds of good stuff going on. All right, final words from you guys.
Real quick. I want to shout out to Santa Ana's own Ronnie Rios. Right now, after the WBA convention, Ronnie Rios will be fighting for a world title very, very soon. We're just working out details for the opponent, working it out, and then we'll have a date. But he was made mandatory. The champion is going to have a voluntary, but Ronnie was put in position to fight for another world title. So his next fight, Ronnie, shout out, keep it going, keep training. The date's coming soon, brother.
So Ronnie Rios fighting at 122, correct?
Yes.
And he's now the WBC mandatory?
WBA, he was named mandatory before the pandemic.
Okay.
But during the convention, they're not enforcing mandatories and everything, so they gave the champion, Brandon Figueroa, voluntary, which he will do. In the meantime, Ronnie will be fighting for another one of the belts. It wasn't the ideal situation, but at least it gets it step in the right direction. The winners must face each other. If Brandon wins and Ronnie wins, they would be facing each other in the next fight.
And Tonio writes, that will be against us. What, Joel, you guys have Figueroa?
No, they have Brandon? No. I think Tonio's saying maybe Diego the rematch or something like that. Maybe that's what he meant.
Tonio, see, that's why we're not getting Tonio on the show. He's getting all confused here. We're talking about guys on the belt.
Margarito did a lot of damage. Antonio, go to sleep. I'll see you tomorrow.
God, see, Tonio, you're right. Now I get it, Coach. Now I understand why you stopped the fight against Margarito. Yes.
And he gets mad. He says, I was doing good. I was slipping punches. Yeah, but you weren't throwing. So that's why I stopped.
Hey, Coach, any final words from you today?
Oh well, I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank you, Roberto. It's always a pleasure. Chatting with you guys and giving the people a lot of knowledge, a lot of whatever they want to hear, and as well as Ronnie. Great kid. Him and Alexis, Hector. Big shout out. Also, Roberto. I want to give a shout out to Lorenzo Mendez again.
Yes, Lorenzo and Chiquis. Yes,
I contacted him the other day. And I just told him I was just happy to see that he's okay. I told him, hey, I invited him, hey, if you ever want to come down, because he asked me, hey, where's your gym? I said, my gym is over here in Indio. If you ever want to come down, aquí tienes tu humilde casa. Hey, come down, we'll go ride horses, get away from all this, just so that you can relax your mind and whatever. He goes, hey, thank you, coach. So great person, Lorenzo.
Absolutely.
Great friend. All the people that have been listening to us, everybody that is always aware of what's happening on ThursDIAZ. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Thanks everybody. I want to thank all my supporters, everybody that came through and supported my team with the shirts from Nike, and it's still gonna go on. As a matter of fact, my son gave me an idea today. I got some personalized gloves. Team Diaz gloves, Team Diaz sweaters, shirts. So in the next few days, we're gonna have something going on where we're gonna do like a little raffle where we're gonna bring people in and give some of the stuff from my team.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
So
for more information, go to Coach's social media, Coach Joel Diaz. So for everybody who's been listening and watching, we did 2 hours today and it flew by. We'll do it again next week, another one. And then in 2 weeks, we're going to do it live from Indio. All three of us will be in the Valley, not together. We're going to distance. So Roberto will be in his room. I'll be in my suite. And we will do that there. So for everybody, appreciate everybody watching, listening, and commenting. Once again, happy birthday to Son Morbina. Thanks to El Razo, because Razo is El Gallo, and we'll take care of him. So, and as always, keep spreading the words. If you guys missed anything, go back and watch on YouTube. If you're busy at work and you can't watch YouTube, but if you can listen, like my buddy Tricky the Mailman, who listens on iTunes, go ahead. And James Crunchtime Williams says, good job, champs. He's watching us in Dallas. We'll be seeing you guys soon. And for everybody, for Joel Diaz, Roberto Diaz, and all the Diazes in the world, thanks for watching another edition of ThursDIAZ. Adios, people.
Roberto, shout out to Oscar. Buenas noches. Shout out to Oscar. He's in the celebrity golf tournament out there in Tahoe.
Oh, is he playing?
Yeah, he's playing. It starts tomorrow, I believe, and it goes through the weekend. So go kick some butt, man. Golden boy.
That's Canelo was playing with Steph Curry today.
Yeah. I think they were warming up. I don't think it started today, but I guess they were just warming up and everything. But it's a bunch of celebrities: Steph Curry, Canelo, Oscar.
A bunch of celebrities. Me and Razo didn't get invited, huh? Qué bonito. Because we had a show to do.
That's right. We had a show. That's right.
Hasta next week, guys. Nos vemos.
Hey, buenas noches.